Hey, Claudia.
Hi.
It's been a while. How have you been?
I know, I've been good. I've been
Yeah.
good.
How's
Yeah.
what's the COVID updates in Germany now?
Well, now some stores are opening up. The smaller
Okay.
shops are allowed to open up.
Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of movement now. I mean, the weather is nice, so people are getting out more.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so
But I guess you're taking.
things look good.
Okay. I mean, here too, they've lifted the lockdown. So, Charlie, I'm on for a free kakra.
Yeah, I said, when I'm on lockdown, where you supposed to lift it?
Oh, well, that's one day,
SM God, the
Charlie.
kakra.
So that's something they mean to me,
Charlie,
but I mean, I guess.
it makes some way,
I know,
yeah.
right? But Charlie, I guess. Okay, Charlie. So let's get straight to it. Claudia,
Yeah.
how
Yes,
much
sir.
how much privacy do you think couples should have in a relationship? Basically,
I think they should have as much as they want.
as much privacy as they want.
Yes, as much privacy as you want, as long as it's not looking like you're being too secretive about something. You can have as much privacy as you want, I think.
So as much privacy as you want. When does it become too secretive?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because at the end of the day, in a relationship, there's always compromises. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you need to find a balance between how your privacy is going to affect your partner. So if it's going to make your partner overthink, then maybe you should cut back on the things you want to keep private.
You see, but there's should you live for your partner, or is because you think that you're in a relationship, there must be some points of convergence, there must be some sacrifice. But to what extent would you want to give up some privacy for your partner? I mean, you personally.
For me personally, I think there's a limit I can go to, and for me, it's never really been a problem for me because of how I like to live my life normally. Usually, when I'm in a relationship, I'm an open book.
Okay.
So if my partner wants to know what I've been up to and stuff like that, it's not really a problem for me because that's just how I am naturally.
Okay.
But some people are used to being by themselves, not having a lot of friends, keeping things to themselves basically. So it kind of becomes hard for people like that, I think.
So if you met somebody who was the exact opposite of what you are, who likes to be a little bit private about their dealings and the things they do, how would you expect there to be some compromise? Would you be willing to accept the person as the person is, or you'd expect the person to be a bit open with you because he's your partner and you're in a relationship?
A bit of both. I would be willing to accept the person as they are to an extent. The same way the person should be able to willingly make some changes because they will make me more comfortable. So it's kind of like a 50-50 thing. Everybody needs to change something.
What would you change? Because you're already like an open book. So what would you change? If you compare what you have to change to what he has to change, it will look like the change has to be more his. And how would people accept that? Okay, I need to make more changes than my partner.
I think, well, one, you need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't be keeping malice. Don't be keeping things in your head.
Yeah.
That may not necessarily be the truth. That's just how they are. And some people may not even have noticed that they are overly secretive or want too much privacy.
Yes.
So you have to be vocal about it. Talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, communication is critical in relationships, but to what extent should one give up who they are naturally because of communication? Do you think that talking alone is basis enough for somebody to want to give up some bit of their space? I mean, if you talk to me and you tell me that, Charlie, I think that I'm a little uncomfortable about, some of your ways of dealing with this relationship. You're a bit too secretive for me. And he tells you true, but unfortunately I've been hurt, or past experiences have informed the way I am now. And so it will be a bit difficult to change, at least even if for the moment. would you be willing to
Yeah.
accept that kind of explanation?
Yes, I would take that because, you know, like you said, the person has probably had a bad experience, and so he or she just trying to be cautious.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it falls on you to make the person comfortable enough to want to open up to you. So you on the opposite end, you need to understand that it's not something that's going to happen overnight. You have to be patient. You know, give them time, space.
What if it doesn't happen at all?
If it doesn't happen at all, then you need to have another conversation about it and say, okay, you know what, this doesn't work for me. So
it
in a
doesn't work for
situation
you,
like
saying.
that, if
it doesn't work for you, saying it doesn't work for you, saying I'm secretive. I don't want my business out there in the street. You see, the fact that we are in a relationship, should that mean say because we are in a relationship, I must leave. I must let go and make sure that you're in my business. You know everything about me. Sometimes, Claudia, sometimes don't you think that the less you know, the better for you?
Yes, of course, I understand. But that's why in the beginning I said everybody's allowed as much privacy as they want, as long as it doesn't seem like you're being secretive.
Yeah.
Because you may want privacy in the sense that there are some things that you just don't want to talk about. But when you start being secretive, then it's like there's something that you know if your partner finds out, they're probably not going to be happy about it, or it's something that you feel guilty about.
Claudia, where do you draw the line between being secretive and being private?
That's the thing. It's
because hypothetically, if you're dating, you meet this nice guy that you like, you're just so compatible, you move your ways, but he happened to have a dark side that he doesn't want you to know. That may not necessarily affect you in person, but may affect your relationship. Or let's break it down. Maybe he's a drug dealer. He pushes drugs. He's a rich person. He has a very beautiful personality, but he's a drug dealer, and he thinks that it's in your interest that you don't get to know that side of him. So anytime he's with you and he gets a phone call, he says, "Excuse me, I need to get a phone call. I move out." I mean, most women will feel very uncomfortable with a situation like that. But for the man, he's thinking that the lesser you know, the better for you.
You know, the better. Yes, I understand that. In a situation like that, for example, if I'm the woman and my man is being overly secretive, thinking that it's in my best interest to keep something away from me, I would honestly weigh how much I feel about the person. If I feel strong enough about them to be able to tolerate it, that's fine.
That is if he tells you that, okay, there's a certain part of me that I'd rather you don't know. But what if he doesn't say that?
He may not. Very rarely would they come out and tell you there's a part of me I wouldn't want you to know. You
pick it up.
So
you pick up hints.
Yeah, so you see that at certain points the person is hiding. You know, if you think you can deal with it, if you can tolerate it, something you can live with, then just leave it. But if it's going to play on your conscience too much, then you're going to have to talk about it. That you can't avoid it.
Because I know for most women, I mean, when you're with a boo or your bae, and he gets a phone call and he says, "Excuse me," he walks out. Immediately your tenter hooks, hey, he's talking to another girl. It's you can find women really thinking that, okay, maybe there's a business in the office that he doesn't want me to know about, or he's entangled in something.
I always think that the way you start out in the relationship is very important. If maybe during the time where you're just getting to know each other, he may excuse himself to pick up a phone call. You don't expect that once you get into a serious relationship with that person, automatically it's going to change.
Well, but that's
because you accepted this in the beginning.
That's how most women think. That's how most women think. It's either the way you begin, they expect that you will continue forever like that, or the way you begin, they believe will change for the better. You know, sometimes it does, but I think it barely
does. You have a very valid point there.
I mean,
it's just
so I mean, if you were dating a guy who always had passwords on his phone, how would you consider that?
No, I mean, I'm not bothered about it. You put password on your phone, I put password on my phone. Simple.
No, but if you're an open book, and I made the password to my phone, so because maybe
Sorry?
I'm saying that you're an open book, like you said.
Yeah.
And I know from the starters that you're an open book. You're not going to change to be a closed book like I am. But I, for certain reasons, and very important reasons, has a password on my phone. I don't expect that because I do, you also would.
I mean, no, I mean, I was just making light of the situation.
Okay,
but
okay, all right.
me, I honestly wouldn't be bothered about it.
Because,
Because
Claudia, there are a lot of
this-
women out there who don't think that their husbands should have passwords on their phones when it comes to them.
why
Yeah.
is it your phone?
Well, but most women think that, Charlie, once we're dating, once you're married, I have a right to your phone.
Oh.
Some will
No,
use
see, just because
excuses
you're
like,
in a relationship or you're married doesn't mean that you should lose yourself.
I don't know what the counselors tell us when we're going for counseling, but it looks like some of them harp on the fact that be as open as you can. And as open as you can sometimes connotes that even your phone should be accessible by your spouse or your partner. You know, so
Well, I mean, if you look at it from their point of view,
Yes.
when you're entering marriage, of course, we're looking at a purely monogamous relationship.
Yes.
And you live under the same roof.
Yes.
You share bills, you share expenses. I mean, you're basically one entity.
Yes.
So, of course, for them, they would preach complete openness.
But openness must openness include the fact that I must have access to your phones. I mean, using the phone as an example.
I honestly think it's a person's choice. If I decide to give my partner access to my phone, that's fine. But it is not their right to have access to my phone.
Great, important. But most women think that actually, once you are together, I must have access to your phone. I mean, that is most women. That I say with no,
I
very
think
unapologetic about it.
We
because
dwell
you know
too
that.
much on the phone issue because, unfortunately, in this day and age,
That be
some
where
people
more
have
of the secrets
too many
be.
skeletons in their closets, and so they'll be uncomfortable with their partner having access to their phone.
That be where they feel like so they have to be able to get proof. You know, I mean, if you look at the phone, I mean, take the phone apart. I mean, like if you're let's even say married, a monogamous relationship, you're married to your partner, and there are times, okay, and I say this to my friends a lot, that there are times when you just maybe pressures from work or a business deal gone bad or something, when you'd rather be in your shell. You want that spatial independence, but because you're married, you can't get it. If you had an understanding partner who understands your mood swings and your body positioning and all, they may realize that no, he wants to be alone. And if you're lucky to have a lot of rooms, you can hide in one of your rooms and be by yourself. But that is even difficult for women to understand. You know,
It is. I mean, I'm a woman myself, and so I agree with that. Sometimes it's very hard for us women to accept when your man has had a bad day and he just doesn't want to talk.
yeah.
We need to be able to accept that. I mean, because for we women also, we have those days, and we expect that when we're having those days, the man should understand. So why can't we do the same? It's a bit hard for me to understand that.
I don't know whether maybe but I don't know. Maybe they feel that if they give you too much space, you'll exploit that independence that you have. But my friend John, they always tell you that look, if the person is bad, regardless of how much security you want to put around the person, if the person was misbehaved, the person will misbehave. So it doesn't solve anything. But I don't know.
It doesn't. It just gives you extra stress, really. I mean, my motto in life is I cannot come and kill myself.
I can't come and give myself. Another thing, I don't know whether you've spoken to friends who have gotten married or something like that. But I think that the counselors too do not help because of the way they portray.
Really, I don't think so, because I feel like they talk about things that were relevant a very long time ago. They need to understand that the dynamics in this age are different.
Changing. There's a paradigm
and
shift.
so their methods need to change.
Yeah. Because I feel that from the onset. I mean, I don't know how many people. I don't know how the research. I don't know how many people go for counseling and to those that don't. But I just feel like the whole institution of marriage is presented to you, prospective marriage couples, as so glorified, so great, so they don't really tell you the nitty-gritties, the difficult parts of marriage. Because I'm married, so I know what I'm talking about. It's not easy. It's very difficult. You need to put in a shift. You need to put in a lot of work to make it work. But on the counseling session, I'm right there though. Charlie, 70% there, but 30%. But you have to flip it over. It's 70% hard work and 30% sweetness.
And I think that's the problem. They only sell the beautiful picture. So lots of people walk into it not being mentally prepared.
Exactly. That's the truth. So you realize that you get into it and then you're like, okay, this is not what I bargained for. What am I into? You know, I expect my husband to be with me all the time. He comes today, he wants to be alone.
And the men, they expect their wives to have dinner on the table at 7 p.m. every day.
Thank you. And he comes and it's not there, and he may have had a bad mood already.
They
can make World War III. You know what I mean? You know, he comes and he instead of him speaking with me, we are sitting down, we are having a conversation. He picks up his phone and he tells me to excuse me, and he goes and is talking for hours, and you know. But I don't know whether it is just the mental makeup of most women. I think the concept of privacy in relationships is a bit foreign to them. It's very difficult for them to take, and I don't know. Probably you may have to hazard a guess why that is so.
It's true. I don't know, but I mean, women per our nature, we always want to be aware of everything that is going on.
Everything.
And that is not possible. And I think that's what a lot of us have not realized. That it's not possible. I mean, for example, if your husband goes to work or your partner goes to work, you don't follow him to work. You don't know what he's up to over there. So why can't you just loosen the strains a bit? I mean, because at the end of the day, really, you're just stressing yourself, honestly.
And you're stressing the guy because some people, some people who are naturally secretive, immediately you start to even behave that way, you rather push them further before you realize that.
It's like you are nagging, you push them away. Yes, that's
situation. True. I mean, I don't know how much. Well, I think that, like you're saying, for every relationship, then you must actually communicate from the starters. These are the kinds of conversations people should have from the beginning. You know, but of course, you don't have a notebook to say, okay, we have had this conversation, tick. But I think consciously, you should have that in any relationship you want to go. What are the do's and what are the don'ts? How much privacy do you think you need? And stuff like that. Otherwise, I think that
it's really very important to get those things down in the beginning. But what you realize is that for most of us younger people, when you think about it, our relationship these days, I was talking to my boyfriend a few days ago and we're talking about it. It's like the relationship is question and answer session. You wake up in the morning, good morning, baby, have you eaten? No, I have not eaten. Why? What will you eat? You know, stuff like that. They don't talk about the important stuff.
Yes. I mean, so much so that you don't even know sometimes if you are compatible in terms of blood groups and all that, only for you to realize at the very end that, Charlie, we're not compatible and people have to let go, and sometimes very difficult.
You know, funny enough, just this afternoon, I was talking to him and then he said he has to call me back. So he called me back and he said, he was talking to a friend of his. And this lady was married for a year and a half. And unfortunately for her, she was in a long distance relationship for a very long time. And they didn't really have the situation where they could spend time together when the guy was in town. So he didn't really know much about the guy in terms of his attitudes and his behaviors, stuff like that. She only knew the fact that she loved him and she agreed to marry him. And a year and a half down the line, she says she's done because you know what? The guy has so many attitudes that she can't stand, and the guy is not willing to change.
Because what they were dating long distance, right?
So
she didn't have the opportunity to get to know him properly.
No, they were dating long distance, but the guy was coming into Ghana.
Okay.
But it's this, when all these buggers, when they come and no, so it's kind of like maybe you spend a night or two, stuff like that. People can hide. Like I always say, in the short term, it's not hard to hide certain things.
True.